Focus now to road traffic stats during the Easter weekend, with preliminary results pointing to a decline from previous years. Gauteng Public Transport and Roads Infrastructure, MEC, Jacob Mamabolo, is with us now in the studio for the update. MEC, good to have you with us, and thank you very much for your time. Preliminary stats indicating that the Easter season fatalities have been dramatically lower than, I suppose, could have been expected. Were you surprised by the low volume of traffic, crashes, fatalities?
Well, firstly, let me say good evening to you and to all the viewers, and thanks for inviting me. I think in the overall, I think the overriding principle should be that the life of every person is very much important, and let's pass our sincere condolences to all the families that have lost their loved ones. And the issue of the preliminary statistics, and of course the indication of a downward trend, it's also because we're still coming out of a very difficult area where movement of people, of freight across our national roads is still not yet at the level at which it could have been. But the other factor to consider is that you can imagine if the Easter period was closer to a month end, or the schools, calendar system was coinciding with the end of the Easter period. So that is also one thing that would have lowered the movement of people. But compared to the last 2 years of hard lockdowns, there was also an increase if you compare it to just the last 2 years, because there have been reduction in or relaxation of the lockdowns, the protocols, but also we have seen the reduction. The fact that the curfew itself was lifted. So there was also a bit of a big movement compared to the last 2 years. So, but in the overall, we're still in a period in which, we're not seeing full swing in mobility of people in and out of our province and to different parts of the country.
Do you think, in a sense, the activations in the various corridors around the province to encourage road users to use the road responsibly could have contributed, maybe?
Well, I think the first thing is to compliment our men and women in uniform. I can assure you that I've seen their work over the Easter period. I've had the privilege to join some of the operations. In our province, for example, just on Monday, most of the high-capacity roads inbound were fully manned. Even on Thursday last week in the province, when we announced our program following that of the minister, we had built partnership with the churches. Given their strategic position in communities, their influence. So I'll say that good work should be commended, but I think some of the things that we have seen still indicate and prove beyond any shade of doubt that we still have massive challenges to make sure that the message of road safety, saving lives of people, that message is still requires that we work even much more harder to reach out to members of the public. If I were to give you examples, the preliminary statistics indicate that in Gauteng alone, and of course Minister will confirm these numbers, or they may be amended, but out of the 22 people that have lost their lives just between Thursday last week and Monday, about 10 of them were pedestrians. And you'll recall that in the major announcements that government has been making, the issue of pedestrians has been highlighted. And the other worrying is passengers inside the vehicles. We are seeing a trend, a very worrying pattern, where the use of the safety belt is still not enforced, particularly as part of the safety inside the vehicle. Right. So even in public transport, in taxis, for example, which are the biggest carrier of the most vulnerable, the safety belt issue is not taken very serious.
Yeah.
We still see, I mean, I was in a roadblock on Monday. We have seen an arrest within a short space of time of a person driving under the influence of alcohol. We still see, I mean, there was over the Easter period, a drunk driver who, hit a police officer on the road under the influence of alcohol. So it says to us, and there are still people who are driving recklessly on the road, endangering the lives of others. So that is why I'm saying. And then, of course, other issues like the condition of the road network. You have got extreme weather conditions. So a totality of all these issues indicate one thing and one thing only, that we still need to build partnerships, work very hard, bring everybody on board to drive a message that will seek to make sure that protecting, preserving, and just making sure that lives of people come first, and that all of us respect human life. Yeah. That is the task ahead.
So
that we still need to
human error, in a sense, you're still saying plays a major part to these numbers that you're seeing. What about vehicle fitness among the challenges that compound these issues?
I'll say to the viewers that whilst in every situation there could be that critical factor that we look at, but I think I must emphasize that road safety is a function and is critically dependent on a number of factors. Having said that, human behavior, human conduct, our attitude on the road is critical. And I don't want to say that is the 80% factor, but I'm just saying in the midst of this, because putting a car on the road that is not roadworthy, it's a decision that the driver makes. Driving and then whilst texting on the cell phone, literally not being inside the car because you're on the phone, and you don't have control of the car, it's a decision we make. Checking the issue again, enforcing seatbelt, putting on safe belt, drinking not under the influence of alcohol, and many other factors. Those are issues, reckless driving, overtaking at dangerous spots, just driving at a speed beyond the limits. Those are issues of the attitude, of the behavior, of the culture. So, and when do you plan your trip? So those issues speak to driver conduct, to attitude, to human factor. But I think even with that, we must not forget many honest drivers will still be caught up in, let's say, potholes when you're not even expecting it. So the condition of the road, weather conditions, all these factors requires that we intensify efforts to reach out to the people. There's also work that we as government need to do to make sure that whilst, of course, there are areas of densified movement, high concentration of movement, but as Minister Mdluli and the President have directed, road safety should be throughout the year. And we need also to build partnerships on that, because government alone won't be able to do that. But there's another weak link in the matter. Whilst I have commended our law enforcement agencies, but we must strongly condemn those people that wear the law enforcement uniform, not for the purpose for which it is meant. They take bribes, there's corruption, they're also demoralizing their colleagues. And also we must take interest in when an offender on the road is arrested, what happens beyond that? Do we get to know conviction and sentencing, and that these people are facing the full might of the law? So it also tells you that part of the lot of work that we still need to do is also to ensure consistency in the entire criminal justice value chain, so that we can hear arrested, driving at a high speed, sentenced to so many years or all that. So there is still a lot of...
Let's talk another bit before we run out of time that I see has become an area of concern. You talk of people who wear the reflector jackets and whatever else, and civilians who are controlling traffic. There are people who've been raising concern around civilians controlling traffic at intersections, and whether or not these are people who are going to be trained at some point, because it looks to the ordinary driver that these are just random people who decide to come to the intersection because the traffic light is failing, and they then decide to control the traffic.
Yeah, I must say that that matter is also worrying, and I can say to the viewers that, just today, in the afternoon with the accounting officer or the HOD, we were discussing that issue. And I believe that and that's what we want to do as a department.
This is what I want us to do.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break because I want you to give me a full answer to that, because it has become a bit of a concern for many people. Let's take a break. Gauteng Public Transport, Road and Infrastructure MEC, Jacob Mamabolo, staying with us. We'll continue with him in a moment. 22nd March. Siyabonga.
Hi.
Are you well, sir?
I'm okay, sir. How are you?
All right, great stuff. We are coming to you now. We'll wrap up with the MEC and come to you shortly. Thanks. Back with you tonight here on In Focus. Gauteng Public Transport and Road Infrastructure MEC Jacob Mamabolo still with us, of course, giving us an update on the latest numbers as far as the Easter weekend safety campaigns. So you were saying you were in the office with the HOD raising the issue of civilians who are controlling traffic at intersections, which has now become quite an issue with many people. I see them raising it and talking about it on social media, and I'm sure you've been tagged and flagged on it.
Yeah, the reason why I was giving you that background and context, it was really to confirm to the viewers that yes, indeed, it's a problem. Even with us, it is an issue. And that's why we're talking about it today. But the approach that we want to take is that people that are managing traffic flows at intersections, there shouldn't be a problem with them if they are duly appointed by the relevant authority. It could be a municipality. It could be us as a provincial government. They are trained and they are professionally trained to be able to do that. And also they've got a unique identification that could include the outfit that we give them. Because given the limited resources that we have and the fact that the road network is critical to the economy, traffic signals that are not working, people going to work and all that, we can't rely only on law enforcement. So to that extent, I'll say, I think as government, it will be very much important that whoever that controls the traffic should be properly trained, registered, because something can happen there and we should be able to take responsibility as government.
Yeah.
But definitely, we can't rely solely and only on law enforcement because that capacity is not adequate. So I think to that extent, but also when that happens, there are people who also complain that criminals also take advantage of that. They pose as people, and some of them also pretend to be controlling traffic. They also go for cable theft at the very same traffic signal. So what we are taking as an approach to the viewers is we want trained and professional people who have been duly appointed by the department and who the public can actually receive good service and comfort, that these are officials appointed by the department, and where there are such rogue elements coming in, our deployed teams will be able to deal with that. And that's the direction that we want to take, so that we can give people comfort when they drive, and that they're driving in safe environments as well.
MEC, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on tonight and joining us tonight here on In Focus. That is the Gauteng Public Transport and Road Infrastructure MEC Jacob Mamabolo.